Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. We are back with Peter Hollens, and we are going to pick it up where we left off last week.
We've got a couple other people in the course that aren't able to be on the call, and I have some questions for them. One of them, and I think this is great because you're super successful on Patreon, and I wanted to see if you had any top of your head tips or tricks for someone that's just sort of starting off and building their own Patreon page. You know, Patreon is a crowdfunding source that's more for continuous content creators. So I have a Patreon page for my musician resources and blog and whatnot. And Peter, yours is for music videos. So I wanted to see, you know, if you had any things that come to the top of your mind that, oh yeah, these are things that really make a successful Patreon campaign.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I could talk about Patreon for hours. Number one, I think it's the first company that actually understands how to support this creator revolution that we're in, which is another topic. But if you want to succeed on Patreon, you have to look at it in a very different light. You have to not look at it as like, this is a Kickstarter that never ends. Although to a layman's, to like break it down, like that is kind of what it is. But if you look at it as a place where you want to create a community and a family and a place where your most supportive and passionate, quote unquote, fan, I hate using that word, can live and breathe, that you want to provide value to them. You want to go there first. It's like the people who care the most about what you do for a living. So when you launch your campaign, if you really want to do Patreon well, you can't just half-arse it. Like you need to go all in, right? Whatever kind of content you make, the push that you are starting a Patreon campaign. I don't really like push or the word campaign because of the way Patreon is to me. It isn't either of those. You need to present Patreon directly in the middle of your content. It needs to be emphatic, and it needs to be like passionate. And I think when you do go all in, anyone who does enjoy what you do enough to just be like, here's my credit card, do with it what you like, it will work, right? So whether you're, you know, a comic and you do a comic about Patreon, or it just needs to be in the middle, right? So I think when I launched mine, since this is a music vertical, it was just right at the end of my music video, of my main content. I pushed about Patreon. So just running on sentences. Don't be scared. Patreon is a good thing. Number two, provide as much value as you can up front at the lowest common denominator, because truthfully, it's not about the amount of money. And I think that's like almost the biggest thing, because it goes against common sense, especially for a struggling musician. It's not about the amount of money you make on Patreon. It's about the number of patrons, right? Because you want to foster that community and you want to build it and grow it over time, because money is always the byproduct of everything you love, right? So if you love Patreon and you love that community, you won't have to worry about the money part. So you want to provide value upfront at low reward levels. So every time I've ever done a bigger push, even though I don't want to keep saying push, to Patreon, it's always been because I'm providing a considerable amount of value at like a dollar a music video, or $1 a month, right? So most recently, I did a campaign, quote unquote, where anybody who gave me $1 on Patreon would get their name on my CD. And that ended up getting like, 4,300 people to get their name on my CD. And it also like 2x'd my Patreon campaign. So you want to provide as much value up front. When you do create reward tiers, you want to provide as much value without it taking time on your end. So like, don't think physical. You don't want to take time to fulfill things, because you want to provide as much value that's already happening. So whether you're like providing karaoke tracks, or you are seen as a quote unquote brand or influencer, and it would mean something to someone by following them back or providing knowledge to them, that needs to be something that you provide. People like having their names on things. It's just like a normal human, I would, gosh, who's my favorite artist? If I could get my name on like Sarah B's or like Jason Mraz's music video by giving him $25 or $50, I'd be like, hell yeah, okay, I want my name on this video. I love that guy. It's not very easy. It's very easy to come up with things that you would like. If you like it, other people will like it. So have some rewards that are like, $1, $3, $5, one at like 10, and just start small. But really, like I said earlier, see what other people are doing in your vertical and mimic it, and then slightly adjust it, make it your own. I've adjusted tiers that didn't work for me, that was taking me too long to fulfill or wasn't providing enough value, and as you're growing, it's never too early to be on Patreon. People always say, well, I'll start one of those once I build something up. I'm like,
yeah,
why the heck wouldn't you just do it now and grow together? Because honestly, I love YouTube with all my heart, and I'm on like the creator advisory board with them, and I know that they're literally the platform that cares the most about us creators, like especially when you like look at the difference between like a Facebook or what have you. But YouTube won't always be around in its current capacity. You need to be able to grow something that is yours. And, I know that I have some type of constant revenue, and it doesn't have any bearing on where I place it. I could put my music video on my own site and push to my own traffic and still know that I'm gonna net that 15 grand by just releasing a video on my site, So there's a certain amount of that comes with knowing that I have a Patreon campaign that doesn't, I'm losing these words that I want, but that doesn't have any bearing on somebody else's platform that they could just cut the cord on, right? Like if I automatically lost Facebook and YouTube and it was gone forever, I would be devastated because I've built this up over 5 or 6 years. But I can release my content on my own website and still be able to support my life and my wife and my son and keep making music, because people are already supporting me just on Patreon alone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's great. And I mean, that's why emails are gold, and you get the emails from Patreon too. So even if Patreon disappeared, you still have access to those people, but you don't know when someone likes your video, you don't have their direct content. So that's why, we always say that the emails are gold, because you have their attention. And so anyway, I think that was all. I mean, I know you could go on for hours, and you've had a lot of success with Patreon, but that was the good laser. I want to do a laser round, one more round. So like quick questions, quick answers. We'll see what we can do. Boom. Let's go back to.
You can shut me up when I start going on a run-on sentence like that last.
No way. I've never shut you up. Like this is how we think, right? We're just like, we're trying to find words for like how to put this crazy industry into like, make sense of it. So it's awesome. You're everybody. All right, Julian, laser round. Do you have another question for Peter?
Do you see any changes coming up in YouTube? Like obviously you've been on it for 6 years and you've seen trends happening. So if you were starting now, do you see any differences? Or that's not really good laser.
I would release your content simultaneously at the exact same time, both on Facebook and YouTube.
Awesome.
YouTube will be the long tail. Facebook is like the initial like push of views. In the end, you want brand awareness, so you will get that by releasing on both platforms simultaneously.
And by that, you mean uploading the video to Facebook and uploading the video to YouTube, not just, the link to YouTube on Facebook.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Very nice job, boys, with the laser there. All right, Scott.
What would you say you need for basics for creating great audio content, just starting out?
Sure. I have an FAQ on my website that kind of gives specific recommendations for that exactly, but it depends on what kind of music you make. So you might specifically you might give me more specifics.
Sorry, I was trying to be laser. Singer, songwriter, I'm playing with an instrument like a violin.
Yeah. Sure. Depending upon your budget, I would get a large condenser mic off the bat. When I started, I bought 2 large condensers. The best in my price range back then was a Rode NT1A. They're quiet. They're inexpensive. They function really well. Any kind of digital audio workstation that you like. If I was starting to learn how to do that now, I would actually start in Logic and not in Pro Tools like I did. And I would start literally utilizing the internet for what it is. It's a lot of free teaching tools, right? So the recordingevolution.com that Graham runs provides so much value for free, whether it's on his blog or on YouTube. I would follow his lead on how he records, how he edits, how he mixes really quickly, and get your stuff out there, bud.
Awesome. That was great. I'll put all these links that you mentioned in the podcast notes, which is on inthekeyofsuccess.com/podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast notes. All right. Last question. Best way, laser style, that you can suggest to utilize monetizing YouTube.
You really had to do that. So
I did. I had to go there. Come on.
You use YouTube just like you use the internet as a free digital marketing mechanism to get yourself, your brand, out there worldwide. Monetizing YouTube means promoting your brand and your awareness and being able to create a community that you will then monetize in any direction that suits your business. So it's a very individual answer that I'd have to give. You need to promote yourself. YouTube is the mechanism to do that. They provide the most tools. They're the best platform for that. They care the most about their creators. But again, like I said earlier, if you're starting now and you don't have any type of digital representation of yourself and your brand, I would release your content currently both on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, but focusing more of your attention on YouTube because it is the platform that provides more value to you. But I would not ever focus in its current state on ad revenue being your way of feeding yourself. It's going to, yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that because I love YouTube and they're trying to figure it out, but you're not going to make a living doing that unless you live much more frugally than me and you are a single person and you like ramen noodles. So
there you go.
But again, I would just still like to say that company cares the most about creators than anyone else out there. And I know that because I know that team and I know their ethos. But you need to do what's best for you, and what's best for you is just getting yourself out there on the internet. Doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter. Every single piece of content you make needs to be repurposed on every single social media site that you have a current brand awareness on. Like, no, wrong words, but Twitter, Instagram, everything. You make one piece of content, then you cut it down and you put it out there on all of these different sites. I know that's a little overwhelming, but it needs to be done.
It totally needs to be done. Yeah, wherever you've got a presence, just go, take an hour a week and just start chopping your stuff up and putting it where it needs to go.
Also, if people are engaging with you on any platform that you currently are on, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, you need to respond. If somebody walks into your brick and mortar store in, downtown New York and they're like, "This is a great place," and you just ignore them as the owner, that makes no sense. It's the same thing on the internet, right? If someone says, I love this video, or even better, because you should take this as a challenge. If they're like, this sucks, you should respond and be like, well, why does it suck? Right? You can get value, and any type of engagement is good. You have to focus on that. Any type of engagement is good. If you have haters, you are succeeding. If you have people who love you, you are succeeding. If it's crickets, that's when you have a problem, and you need to either keep up working harder, making more content, or you need to slightly start changing and from my perspective, mimicking on something else that is working until you do get some type of traction, right? So.
Awesome. Yeah. This has been awesome. I mean, this is all gold. You guys are getting like how gold this stuff is. Peter's dancing over here, you guys. Watch out. Oh my gosh. All right. We're gonna have to call it. We can do this for hours. I know that. Peter, thank you so much for giving us your time and your
pleasure.
Insights and everything. And thank you guys, Julian and Scott, for the great questions.
If you've ever been interested in writing music for commercials or getting your songs into commercials, then you don't want to miss next week's talk with Chris Rogaman, the creative producer and partner at Mophonics Music. So stay tuned. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast was provided by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, and it was written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Ock. If you're interested to find out more about my own composing and songwriting projects, go to cbemusic.com. If you're a musician looking to really get some results that you're psyched about in your music career, then head to inthekeyofsuccess.com, where I've created a bunch of different kinds of resources just for you. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.